Hey, can you ever find yourself staring at your to-do list, knowing that you have so much stuff to get done, but feeling so much dread and overwhelm that you just can't even get started? You feel stuck and frozen and unable to move forward with all of the millions of projects that you're probably working on. If that's you, whether you're ADHD or not, this video is going to be helpful for you. So, we're going to talk today about how to work with your brain rather than against it so that we can help you feel less stressed and more productive when it's important for you, both with the fun stuff and maybe the not so fun stuff. Have ADHD-friendly strategies that help you break free from procrastination, get more done, set goals that actually work for you, and debunk the productivity myths that are keeping you stuck. No, you do not have to wait until you can do it perfectly. That's not even a thing. So let's talk a little bit about why procrastination happens. For people with ADHD brains, you're not lazy. Laziness, in my opinion, doesn't even exist. It's like a really nice white supremacist notion that is meant to make you feel shame and horrible about yourself, and it's probably worked. What you need to know is that ADHD brains do not always have access to executive functioning, which means that you don't have the right chemicals available in your brain to get started on a project or manage to pick a priority or things like that. And while this is your brain's natural state and starting point, it doesn't mean that your life has to be run by that or that you have to keep your brain stuck there forever. Change is possible for everyone, including ADHD brains. So we're going to leverage some neuroscience techniques to help with habit formation, which is a little bit of a different beast for those of us with ADHD. For example, ADHD brains do not have typically access to as much dopamine as a neurotypical brain would have. And dopamine is often what motivates our behavior, gets us started, and has us feeling, oh yeah, I really want to do this. So there are lots of ways that you can get more dopamine. One of them is stimulants. But there's lots of other tricks that we can give you to get more dopamine in your day-to-day life if you're an ADHDer who struggles with that and stimulants are not available or an option for you for whatever reason, even if you just don't want to take them. I used to totally feel awful about procrastinating. I would sit around, I had tons of projects, and I wasn't always moving towards them. I would forget about projects for months or, to be honest, years at a time. I had a really hard time completing goals. I forgot about what my goals were before the time to fulfill them came and spent years just feeling like I was stuck in the same place because personally, my ADHD got a lot worse with perimenopause, which I started at the age of 36. So heads up, anybody with ovaries. Now let's dive into actual strategies you can use to help you get more done. I promise you don't need more discipline. You don't need more willpower. You just need better systems and a better strategy. You might need to do a little more planning than you're used to or than you'd like. And these things will all get easier with practice. So let's talk about how to make your life easier. So the first trick is to break steps down into micro tasks. So for example, if I need to clean my apartment, no, I don't. I need to clean one thing. Let's clean the kitchen counters first. Let's clean the kitchen sink first. Let's pick one room or one corner of one room, one specific area to start with to get you started. If that's all you do, that's still a win, in my opinion. It's more than you did yesterday. It's more than you did when you were stuck frozen on the couch. It's a win. Let your wins be wins. Celebrating your wins is super important, and this is something I think a lot of ADHDers miss. If you manage to do your one tiny action, once you figure out the smallest step that you can take to get started on a project, I want you to actually celebrate your progress. And I know it seems small. It's not the entire apartment. It's not the whole thing you wanted to get done. And it is still an accomplishment. It's still a win. Part of the way that we can cement new habits into place is by actively celebrating our accomplishments and giving ourselves a moment of joy. Because why would you want to keep doing something if every time you make progress, some jerk is just telling you about all the stuff you haven't done yet? So if that's your brain's natural tendency, we need you to celebrate on purpose. I think an extra useful way to do this is to literally just put your hands above your head. Yes, I did it. Saying yes and putting your hands above your head are both going to release helpful chemicals in your brain that make you feel good, including dopamine, which you need more of, to make it so that it's easier for you to keep going. And you might actually feel good about taking that one tiny micro step next time, as opposed to if you're just beating yourself up about that's all I didn't do enough, like you're not going to keep going. So please stop talking yourself out of progress and insisting on perfection, and allow yourself to celebrate the progress that you are making, because the tiny steps will eventually add up if you're willing to keep taking them. So don't forget your celebrations. Okay, so a lot of ADHD people also talk a lot about motivation and, oh, I'm just going to wait until I'm motivated, or I wish I had the motivation. I miss when I used to have the motivation. And the truth is that motivation follows action, not the other way around. So you do not need to wait to be motivated to get started. You need to know that once you get started, that motivation that you're missing is going to show up. So again, if you take that one tiny little step, that micro step that you found in that first tool, and you actually get it done, that is going to create a little bit of motivation. You're going to feel good. You're going to get the dopamine. You're going to have the celebration moment of, yes, I did this thing. It's over and done with, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And that is going to produce motivation. So you're much more likely to be like, what's the next small step that I can tackle, rather than quitting and giving up and never doing anything again. Okay, another strategy that works really well for ADHDers is called body doubling. So what this is that when you have a task that you know you don't want to do, or something that you've been avoiding, it is probably easier for you to do it with another person nearby, another person in the room. If you've been avoiding cleaning out your closet for the last couple of months and you really need to get that done, have a friend come over and just sit with you and hang out and talk to you while you work on your closet. If you don't have a local friend that's available, or getting together in person isn't an option for you for whatever reason, you can always do this online. Body doubling online has been shown to be effective and helpful in getting people to focus and get more done. So there are lots of options available on the internet for online co-working or body doubling that is designed to help you, so that you can have a Zoom meeting on and tell people what you're working on and have an hour to go get into your closet and knock some of that stuff out. Body doubling can really improve people's focus and make it feel so much faster and easier to get through whatever it is that you've been avoiding or feeling like is a giant mountain you can't climb alone. You don't have to. Help is available, and you deserve to be supported. Please ask for the help that you need from your loved ones. They are probably happy to help you get your stuff done so that they can enjoy more fun time with you afterward. Okay, so the next strategy we have for ADHD brains is to try and gamify your tasks. So we want you to make your tasks as fun and shiny as you possibly can for yourself. And this can look a lot of different ways for different people. Not every idea has to work for you. We want you to take what works and leave the rest. But when you're trying these things out, we want you to experiment with these different tools and set yourself up in different ways, set your environment up in different ways, and just see what works for you. When it comes to gamifying your tasks, here are some options that work for different people. It can be really helpful to use a timer and race the clock. So, for example, when I do my dishes in the evening, I will set a timer for 15 minutes, and I'm trying to get everything done as fast as I can in that amount of time. If the dishes get completed in that amount of time, I will move myself out from the sink to the kitchen counter and work on cleaning and resetting the entire kitchen for the next day. But the point is that if I set the timer and put on some groovy music for myself, I'm way more likely to get through it and get more done than if I'm just dragging myself to do the dishes at the very end of the day when I'm really tired and I don't want to. Finding ways to make it more fun, more challenging, more of a game or a trick that your brain is trying to outsmart can make it easier to get some of these tasks done. Other options for gamifying tasks would be creating challenges or rewards. So people can make bets with their friends. Hey, I really want to do this thing. I really want to go to the gym for 3 days a week for the next month. Like, you can make bets with friends about stuff. Let's maybe keep the bets small if you don't have a lot of money. $5, $20, whatever works for you. But it's been shown by research that if we put some money on the line, we're a lot more likely to stick to our goals. So that can be a way to gamify things and keep yourself accountable in ways that maybe you haven't tried before. You can also put your money out in advance, cash app your friend. Hey, this is my goal. If I hit the goal by the end of the month, I want the money back. If I don't hit the goal by the end of the month, you can donate it to a cause that I don't like. If you create a pain point for yourself, you're also more likely to stick to that goal and get it done. When it comes to challenges, you could challenge friends that like, hey, I want to write 500 words a day. Do you want to do this challenge with me? We're both going to try and write 500 words for the next month. Are you in? Finding other people to join the challenges with you, I find can help make this a lot more functional and workable for people in terms of keeping them accountable and on task and connected to the things that they want to be progressing and moving forward in their lives. Okay, and when it comes to timers, we should talk about timers a little more for ADHD brain. For some people with ADHD, a timer can create a sense of stress and pressure that they don't like. If that's, you don't have to use them. Don't worry about it. For other people with ADHD, maybe that 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off Pomodoro technique like doesn't quite work for you. This is where gamifying comes in. If you're like racing the clock and seeing like how much can I get done in those 25 minutes, it's probably going to work better for you than if it's just I have the work block and then I'm supposed to take a break and I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing in this time. If you are trying to use timers with ADHD, when you first set the timer, I want you to pick exactly what you're trying to get done in that set period of time. Be as specific as possible about what your goal is and what success would look like for you. Then you might want to add in some music, whether that's bilateral stimulation music to help you focus. Binaural beats are also another option musically that can help focus, or just like something that works for you that you know you like to focus to help you stick to the timer and help you stay on task. You could also add in rewards to the Pomodoro method. So if I work on this for the next 50 minutes and I get it done, then I get to take a 20-minute break instead of a 10-minute break. And I'm going to go outside and play with my dog or whatever it is that would feel like a reward and a treat for you. When it comes to setting goals that are ADHD friendly, let me let you in on some secrets that might help you. So for people with ADHD brains, long-term goal setting doesn't usually stick. It doesn't work as well as it does for some other people, although honestly, I don't think that's working very well for any of us. For people with ADHD brains especially, long-term goals without short-term dopamine rewards do not stick. One thing that you can try is to swap deadlines for checkpoints. So rather than saying, I want to start my new business by the end of the first quarter, you could say, I'm working on starting my business in the first quarter, and I'm going to set multiple checkpoints to check in and see what my progress is, rather than having the expectation be that your progress is going to be completed at those checkpoints. The intention is just that you are going to check in on your progress, remind yourself of your goals, see if your actions are lining up with those goals or if there's new behaviors that you need to start taking so that you're actually moving towards the goals. The checkpoints can just lower the pressure enough that it doesn't feel as stressful or as problematic for some people. The other thing that can be really helpful for ADHD people is to tie your goals to short-term dopamine hit rewards that you can give yourself as you're making tiny progress towards these goals over time. So again, this goes back to what I mentioned earlier in the video about celebrating your wins. Yes, I got that done. Yes, I worked on that for an hour. I showed up. I was consistent. I tried. If you are giving yourself celebratory moments that feel good, and again, this will automatically do that for you. I know it looks silly, but who cares? If you feel good and you look silly, is it bad? Clearly, I don't think so. But we want you to do it in environments that you're comfortable. You can only do the celebration thing when you're at home. Or if you're in public, you can be like, yeah, I did it. I got it done. I showed up. I did the work. I put in the time. I'm following what I said I wanted to do. We want you to give yourself a lot of credit and we want it to feel good for you because then you're more likely to keep going. So instead of shaming yourself that you didn't get the whole thing done in the hour that you worked on it, we want you celebrating that you put in the time and the effort and that you showed up because consistent action is going to get you there over time, even if it feels really annoying that it's not done yet. The other thing that can help with ADHDers reaching their goals is to find accountability buddies that will be helpful without creating shame for you. So you want to find those people who are really compassionate. Maybe they're also ADHD. Maybe they also struggle with procrastination or getting things done. Someone who's going to be kind and understanding if you don't hit your first checkpoint the way that you wanted to, if you're not completed with what you wanted to be complete with by your first checkpoint. We want someone who's going to support and encourage you, remind you of the positive steps that you are taking, help you see the things that are worth celebrating. And also, what's your plan to move forward? Like someone who's willing to be a brainstorming buddy or a thought partner for how you can adjust course if you are finding yourself a little far off from the goals, or if you're finding that your actions are not actually moving you forward in the ways that you want them to. Having a buddy who's not going to shame you for that or put you down or tell you that you're messing it up again or whatever that might sound like in your potential family of origin. We want you to have a buddy who's going to encourage you, who's going to make you feel like you can, and who's going to remind you that if you keep working on it and you keep trying, things will get better. Practice does help us make progress. For me, the thing that's made the biggest difference in my goal setting as someone with ADHD is to have a system where I'm checking in once a week. So I do a weekly check-in on Sundays and I assess how the week before went. Did I take any steps towards any of my goals? Was I consistently showing up and working on the things that are what I've decided are important for me to be working on right now in my business as an entrepreneur? What really makes a difference is having multiple touch points, multiple check-ins, multiple reminders, multiple places where you can hold yourself accountable. So I do the weekly check-ins, and then also I do a morning check-in with myself, and I just decide in the mornings, like, what's most important for me to get done today? Where do I need to be spending my time? I don't pick more than 3 tasks. And if I make like a crazy list, then I know that's my list for the week. And those are not all things I need to get done that day. And I need to pick 3 priorities for the day. In the morning, I also will do a quick check-in to see how yesterday went, if there's anything I need to do different to make sure I get more done today. And having these multiple touch points, these multiple check-ins has really changed the game for me. So setting up a weekly appointment to check in on where you're wanting to make progress, if you're following through with the goals that you're setting for yourself, because those things will add up to your quarterly goals or your yearly goals or whatever the bigger long-term goals are that you have for yourself. So create many checkpoints and check-ins and ways that you can reflect and see, am I doing the things that are most important? Am I doing the things that are most important for me personally? Am I doing the things that are most important for me professionally? Have I been sticking to what I've chosen as my priorities? And if not, was that a conscious decision that I made because I reassessed and I was wrong about what the priorities needed to be? Or was it just like an accident because I forgot and got distracted and this shiny new thing felt like I needed to get it done? The more check-ins that you can set up, the more reminders you can give yourself, whether that's visual reminders on something like a Post-it note or calendar reminders, alarms on your phone, people that are going to ask you questions. These things can all really help. I also really like to add my check-ins to existing habits that I'm already doing consistently. So I typically do my check-ins late at night because I have more of a nightly routine than I do a morning routine, to be honest with you. My nightly routine is really consistent, whereas my morning routine, I have one and it's very flexible. It changes a little bit every day. For me, taking a new habit that I want to do and trying to do it at the time that I'm already consistently doing something in my days has been really helpful to get me to stick to it and remember it more easily and actually utilize it a little bit more. The other thing that ADHD brains really need to know with all of this is that you are going to be imperfect. You are a human being. We are all imperfect. It's not going to go exactly how you want it to go, not going to go exactly how you envisioned it. That does not matter. We want you to be willing to keep working on it anyway, because you deserve to reach your goals and you are worth the effort that it takes to go after the goals that will make your life better and that are important to you. So we want you giving yourself lots of grace, remembering that you can reset and readjust and recommit to your goals every day, all the time. If you miss a day, it's no big deal. If you miss 2 days, it's no big deal. If you do your weekly check-in on Sunday and you realize, I didn't do any of my daily check-ins, okay, cool. No big deal. You're doing the weekly check-in. You're remembering, you're coming back to it. That's the point. That's the hard part. That's the stuff that you need to give yourself tons and tons of celebration and credit for, because you know what? That's hard stuff for us with ADHD. Throw yourself a one-time dance party, have a celebration that you remembered, that you're recommitting, and just figure out what your next smallest step that you want to take you in the direction that you're hoping to go is. So here are the productivity myths that may be keeping you stuck if you are an ADHDer. Myth number 1, you just need more discipline. No. You do probably need a system that works for you and that helps you, and an environment that's set up to work for you and work with you and help you remember and prioritize the things that are most important to you. If you can't see it, you're not going to remember it. Find systems that work for your brain rather than working against it. Stop shaming yourself and acting like you're just supposed to be able to willpower your way through this, because I promise if that was an option, you definitely would have done it by now. Myth number 2 is that a perfect morning routine will fix everything. I already told you that my morning routine is not my most consistent. I do have a set morning routine. I have something that I aspire to, and I do about 20% of it every single day. That's fine. That is working out really well for me. That has helped me make more progress and be more productive than trying to diligently stick to exactly the same morning routine ever did. And I promise I did that for years. So many years of wasting time obsessing about a morning routine and trying to make it perfect and adding more things in and making it completely impossible to get through and do anything else in a day. Most ADHDers, including myself, really thrive on flexible routines. So having a routine where you want to do something that's good for your mindfulness in the morning and some kind of movement and have some water can be an awesome morning routine for ADHDers. It's not specific. You could do yoga one day and weightlifting another. You could stretch for 5 minutes when you get out of bed, and that could meet your movement goal. You could spend 3 minutes taking deep breaths before you get out of bed in the morning. Like, this stuff can be really simple and really small and really helpful all at the same time. That works better for ADHDers if we're willing to be flexible and allow ourselves to get some novelty by changing up exactly how we're getting that thing that we know we want for ourselves in our day-to-day routines. So get a little creative and please be flexible. The third myth that people with ADHD really fall prey to around productivity is that if you just try harder, you'll get it done. Again, like the discipline thing earlier, if trying harder was going to work, it definitely would have worked by now. And you are smart and brilliant and wonderful. Trying is not your problem. You are trying really hard right now. You are trying really hard when you're stuck on the couch thinking about what you want to do and like feeling like you can't get up and can't get moving. That takes a lot of energy. I know that work. Like, it's hard work. It doesn't feel good. It's absolutely not rest if you are sitting around thinking about the things that you need to be doing, feeling awful. That is not restful for your brain, I promise. So the reality is that trying harder does not help if you are not introducing new behaviors and new ways of thinking. Because right now, your version of trying hard is not working for you. It's just draining your energy and your time and your willpower and getting in your way, holding you back. I promise you are trying hard enough. That is not the problem. And we need to give you systems that work for you so that when you do put in that effort and you do try progress and you get that motivation, that dopamine hit of accomplishment and getting something done, and you feel better about trying again tomorrow, starting over, and recommitting to whatever it is that would make your life better. Because again, you're worth the effort that it takes to get this stuff done. So to recap for you, remember, you don't need to change who you are. We just want you to change your approach. So if the way you're doing things isn't working, you can head on over to my blog if you want a detailed goal setting guide for ADHDers. That's on there for free. I will throw a link below for you there. Also, I'd love to know which one of these strategies you're going to try first. So if you know which one that you want to use, what sounds like the most helpful, please comment below with whatever it is that you want to remember from this video and put into practice in your life. It'll help you remember, it'll help cement it in and make it more real, and it'll make it more likely that you're actually going to use it. Again, there's a free goal setting resource on my blog that you can find at the link below, and I'm currently putting together a full Notion template that is all for ADHDers to help them check in, do the weekly check-ins, track their daily progress, have a place that you can go consistently to remind yourself what the heck you were thinking about, what was important to you, and what you wanted to be doing, with lots of tips and tricks in there to help get you through any stuck moments that might come up. So if you're interested in that, make sure to enter your email to join my email list so that you can be the first to hear when that drops officially. So I just want to remind you, you've got this. Remember, progress over perfection is always going to get you so much further than waiting for things to be perfect. And I want you to know that with practice, you can get better at all of this. Just because your brain isn't automatically set up to do this stuff really well doesn't mean that you can't learn and grow and make this easier on yourself. It really can happen, I promise. So it will take hard work, but you're already working really hard. If we start putting that effort that you're putting in right now to places that actually move you forward and make a difference for you, you are going to feel so much more excited and hopeful and motivated in your life and feel good about yourself, which is really what I hoped for you. I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're doing your best. You're doing amazing. And we can help you move forward if that's something that you're wanting in your life, ADHD or not. So I hope this was helpful. Please don't forget to comment below what you're going to use from this video first, and let me know what else you'd be interested in seeing.